Steve Thomas. Welcome to Backlash, where I take you behind the scenes of some pictures that I've recently posted on Instagram. And this time we take a little dance in the dark rooms of old with some film images, 3 panoramic film images that I recently posted, all from Cuba, shot maybe 16 to 18 years ago. I used to spend a great deal of time in Cuba. Haven't been back for maybe 15 years, so in many ways that's quite sad to see what's happened. To the outside world it may look appealing to have opened up some, but I'm sure that it will go a long way to dividing society, making it more westernized, which anyway. This particular image, and all 3 images, were shot on a Hasselblad X-Pan, which is a panoramic 35mm rangefinder camera. It shoots 2 frames at the same time, so it's unique in that. It's not been made for many years, and now it's something of a collector's item, highly prized by hipsters. I still have the X-Pan, I don't think it's the one that this was shot on, because I had one. The original one I had was in the back of my car following me a shoot, or a failed shoot, in the Picos de Europa in Spain. Went into a bar with a friend, and the light was pretty flat, so we decided to go in for something to eat around about lunchtime, and came out again at about 3 in the morning and walked back to the car. Back window was smashed in, everything was gone, the whole camera kit, everything, money, wallet. Pretty devastating. We were obviously in a little state of inebriation and just stood there and just gazed at what was going on. For some strange reason, the thief had actually put my passport back and put it into an empty bag. He'd taken everything out of the bag and put it in the hedgerow in front of the car. So I was able to get back home. Had to abandon plans to shoot the running of the bulls in Pamplona a week later, because I had no cameras and I had no money. I picked up another X-Pan, second hand, which was still pretty expensive. These days it's several $1,000s, $3,000-$4,000, if you can find a good one online. Unfortunately, mine, sent it in for servicing recently, and something's gone wrong with some kind of motherboard inside. Yes, there were electrical parts in even in the film cameras of old, and now it's basically useless. It can only shoot at a certain very, very slow shutter speed. So back to this image. So we clambered up to the rooftops of the hotel, the Casa Grande, which is the major hotel, a pretty old hotel, as are all hotels in Cuba. It was built in 1915, and it was where Graham Greene used to stay, the writer, and it featured in his Our Man in Havana book, which is pretty famous, to say the least, and it was referred to as a hotel frequented by spies. On this occasion, there may have been spies around, but yeah, there's a definite undercurrent in Santiago de Cuba, one which I've experienced firsthand a couple of times. It's an amazing place, beautiful city, absolutely vibrant and full of culture, and puts Havana to shame. But thankfully, or maybe not, very few of the latter-day tourists who flock to Cuba get that far. They tend to go to Havana, which is where we're going to now. This is a shot that was taken on El Malecon. The Malecon is the famous seafront in Havana. There's a long walkway of several kilometers and a road that runs alongside it. There's also a port area to the south, and if you go further north, there's also a port area up there. This is basically the soul of Havana. At night times it comes alive. I mean, there's music, there's people playing, dancing. It's an amazing place to walk in an evening. Evenings start off here, as you can see, with fishermen. It's in certain areas of it, the Malecon, they're standing on the seawall, There's no beach. It basically goes down over a series of rocks, and then you're straight into the sea. It's can be a pretty wild coast, as you will see in a few minutes. These guys were fishing at sunset. I'm not sure what film this was shot on. It was definitely Fujifilm, probably Provia. Anyway, taking a walk further along the Malecon. This one was shot in the daytime, and it's one of my all-time favourite pictures. This was shot on Velvia, I think, which is a very slow film, so it's very difficult to get a shutter speed to capture things like action, like the kids running. There's a little recess on the Malecon, and I was in a hotel which was just on the opposite side of the road, and I watched and watched and watched, and I could see these kids running up and down, skidding, falling all over. So I ran down, managed to get a few images. Unfortunately, there was a guy, I think, I'm not sure he was Japanese, with a camera that kept running in front of me, which is a problem with most of the images. I mean, I'd set up and wait for that moment, and then he'd run in front of me, which is even worse when you're shooting with a super wide angle, double width. So yep, that's the story behind these images, and I hope you enjoyed them. So please stay tuned for the next episode.